Hey everyone, we're in week 3 of a series called What Was I Made For? And over the past few weeks, we've been talking all about identity and seeing ourselves as God sees us. Before we go any further in this, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever played a video game and stayed at the same level? Like, that would be so frustrating, right? I mean, if you never played again, you might be okay with your current level, but the whole point of the game is to get to the next level. There's always a chance to move up to the next level, and it's why we keep playing it. I play FC and constantly am losing soccer matches. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not that great, but I always just wanna move up. I wanna get to League One, which might be impossible for me. But anyways, there's always another way to level up your character if you're playing that kind of game. You know, maybe it's that V-Bucks are everywhere. We ask for them for birthdays and Christmas, or there's always another skin to buy, features to earn, and skills to unlock. Look, the truth is, we all wanna level up. If you play sports, you wanna level up in your sport. There's always a higher level travel team to make, another championship to win, a starting position to earn. Like, that's where the competition comes from, right? Or if you play an instrument, you wanna level up in that. You wanna be the first chair. In competition, you wanna score the maximum number of points. You want a standing ovation at the end of your recital. That's the dream, right? Leveling up is a part of life. We spend hours, days, weeks, and in some cases, years trying to level up. Now, there's nothing wrong with leveling up. In most cases, no one wants to level down. In fact, if we're honest, sometimes it's pretty embarrassing to level down. And a lot of times, we're encouraged to level up and we're celebrated when we do. Let me show you what I mean. Striving to get better at something is admirable. That home run we just saw wouldn't have happened if that kid didn't put in the hard work during practice. You should put in the hard work too. You should try to be the best at whatever you're doing. Spending your time becoming great at something is a good thing. It's a really good thing. And like we just saw, being celebrated for it is a really good thing too. But when how you think about your level or what you can do or achieve becomes your identity, that's a problem. When our talents or what we're good at begin to be the only things that we're known for, that's when we start having an identity problem. When our achievements or the things that we've done become the best things about us, we begin to have an identity problem. When how many followers we have on social media is where we find our value, again, that's an identity problem. And when we find our value and worth in what we do, we're setting ourselves up for failure. We quickly become only as good as what we do and how well we do it. We begin building the foundation of our lives on something that's temporary, things that won't be there forever. What we eventually discover is that we'll never be truly satisfied in achieving the next level. We may be satisfied for a little while, but there will always be another level to get to. I remember in middle school when my goal was to make the 7th grade baseball team. But you know what happened? As soon as that season was over and the next school year started, all I could think about was the fact that I needed to do everything I could to make the 8th grade team. And then that happened in high school, from freshman to JV to varsity. It was this never-ending thing. All of it was good, but it also was a lot of pressure. I mean, we have to answer the question, why do we so badly want to make it to the next level? Most of the time, our desire for the next level is rooted in a few things. For some of us, maybe we don't feel good enough. So we work hard to make sure that we look good enough or we perform well enough. For others of us, we don't feel loved enough. So we take things to the next level in our relationships with our family, friends, and others because it makes us feel better about ourselves. For some of us, we don't feel like we can be our true selves. So we spend our time building a fake version of ourselves who looks like they have it all together. Look, oftentimes we feel like if anyone knew who we really were, they wouldn't like or accept us. So we hide. We hide behind our accomplishments and create an almost fake version of ourselves to show other people. This can keep everyone, including God, at a distance. It's a way to protect our image and to make sure that we're seen as good enough, but is it really what's best? Now, we aren't the first group of people to struggle with this. In fact, Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, had something to say about this. Paul wrote a letter to the church in Colossae, and it's obvious that he wanted to make sure the Colossians, which were the people who lived in Colossae, were reminded of how to keep this problem in check. Paul knew that if they fell into the trap of constantly trying to level up, they'd forget who they were. They'd forget about what God says about them, and maybe even what God had already done for them. And I think we can read this today and discover the healthiest perspective for us to have when it comes to our identity. For through him, God created everything in the heavenly realms and on earth. He made the things we can see and the things we can't see, such as thrones, kingdoms, rulers, and authorities in the unseen world. Everything was created through him and for him. Okay, so Paul was making sure that we have the proper perspective. He wrote that God is an all-powerful creator. Paul said that all things in heaven and earth were created by God. Everything we see and everything we can't see, God actually created it all. In fact, it wasn't just created by God, it was also created for God. So this includes you. You were created for God as well. And since God created you, don't you think God cares about you? You were created in the image of your Creator, and your Creator is love. God is love. You were created by God to love and be loved. And here's the thing, your image, it's already been established. It's already been created. When God looks at you, God sees you as God's child, forgiven, blameless, accepted, worthy, significant, valued, loved. And there's more. Because of Jesus' death on the cross, we don't have to try to level up. God has already done the leveling up for us. Jesus' death and resurrection were God's way of saying, you are worthy. You don't have to keep chasing this never-ending road of trying to constantly level up. You don't have to keep trying to be good enough. You are enough because Jesus' death and resurrection say that you're enough. The truth you can tell yourself is this: I am made for more than what I can do. So, in light of this amazing truth, here's two really important questions to think about. The first one is this: is your view of yourself shaped by what you do instead of who you are? Are you spending so much time trying to get to the next level only to reach it and then not be satisfied? Only to find yourself trying harder and striving for the next level? If you're doing, what I mean by that is your accomplishments, talents, achievements, followers, has become what makes you valuable, what happens if you can't or don't do it anymore? That's the first thing to be thinking about. And the second question to consider is, are you building your life on something that is really temporary? You may be thinking, look, I'm in middle school, chill out. I have a lot of life ahead of me. And true, you do have a lot of living to do, but now is when you're building the foundation for the rest of your life. And your life can't just be built on temporary things. It makes sense to place our identity in something or someone so much better and so much stronger than achievement or popularity or status. Remember, none of those things are bad, but what if we build our identity on someone, the someone we've been talking about today, God, who is worthy of your attention, your talents, and your accomplishments. Someone who looks at you and sees you as worth it, just as you are. Someone who sees you as worthy regardless of your accomplishments or your failures. The one who created you, God. Because at the end of the day, this is a truth that we can believe for ourselves. I am made for more than what I can do. When you go to groups, think about this question. When God looks at you, what do you think God sees?